Welcome to Post Game on the Pitch. I'm Sweeta Mara Era and Russell Brown. What's going on, my brother?
It's a tough day at the pitch, but there were dogs here, so that's always positive.
Don't start. Sounders lose 2-1 to the Montreal Impact. So we'll get the stats out of the way. They score in the first 3 minutes and 58 seconds, and then Montreal comes back and scores, and then Sounders obviously give up another goal. But thoughts?
It was kind of like the last match you had where you scored fast, and Schmetzer said in that post game that sometimes you score fast, you get lethargic, and you can kind of fall into it. He said that wasn't the case today, despite Jordan Morris scoring in the first, as you said, 3 minutes. The goal that got Montreal into it was a young mistake by Reagan, and it leads to a breakaway goal there. And then the second one, it was poor marking that gave it up. I'm not going to say Montreal didn't play a great game. They had a high press that completely, as the word you said, discombobulated Seattle Sounders. But I don't think the goals were necessarily earned off of what they were playing. It was more the Sounders gave it away. I think you get a better performance from them, then you get a better result as well.
Okay, I disagree. All right. So to Christian,
that's what makes it fun.
Yeah, to Christian Roldan's point, when I asked him, he said the 4 and the 6. Yep. Right? The 4 attackers and the 6 midfielders were discombobulated in the middle. And so what happened is on attack, when they had the ball, these 6 weren't coming up with 3 of them to come up and support. So you had 4 just kind of going crazy. On defense, that 4-6, what happened was once Montreal got past the 4, then the 6 were overrun by Montreal. I think it was a tactical thing. The Sounders didn't play well.
Yeah.
And there was a stat I saw that Montreal actually has the best record against the Sounders of any other MLS team.
No, it doesn't surprise me. I mean, you play them so few times. They're in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, that's true.
If you win 2 games, you could have a great record. That doesn't surprise me, but it's also something you don't want to have.
I went over about kind of what Montreal was doing. To your point, what could have the Sounders have done? What is it that they weren't doing?
Well, I think what Christian pointed out in that same exact clip that same exact interview, they wanted to play it over the top, get it, but the communication wasn't there. And I think it was a lack of communication. You talked about the second ball not being there. There's just the little things that you're used to seeing the Sounders be a little bit more buttoned up. They just weren't today. The connecting passes to really get back on the counter wasn't there. It was things that you talked that could have been, a scheme situation, or I just think they weren't their best today. They weren't sharp, which you can have an off day. So I just think they weren't their best today.
I agree with you on that point. I do. I mean, I think they didn't play their best. They had a team that had a really good strategy against them. So there was miscommunication all over. So they didn't win the second ball, and also they didn't get that second pass. And scoring early, as much as Brian said it, I think that
Just a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, coach speak's going to say that, but sometimes you can score too early.
Yeah. And you can play what if all you want, but if Reagan doesn't give that ball up and, Montreal doesn't get that, what if? But at the end of the day, the if is 2-1, Montreal gets 3 points.
Yeah, and Reagan, fine, and again, he's going to be MLS Defender of the Year in the next 3 years. Hasn't just put that out there. But, so I don't blame
Stefan's the next go, right?
Yes. Cleveland's a baby goat. But I don't find a mistake 1-1.
Yeah.
Right, and at that point, it wasn't towards the end of the game. But
Yep.
You're right. I think today what you saw was a Sounders team that was playing his 5th game at home against a team that had a decent interim coach that had lost. I mean, they had won against Charlotte, but before that, they got beat up by Toronto 4-0. Who Seattle goes and plays.
Yeah, and everybody knows the history between Toronto and Seattle. Usually it's in an MLS Cup, but the rivalry's there. So that's a game you can get up for. You got to go to the other time zone. You got to go to a different country. Schmetzer, I believe, it was announced that they're going to skip training tomorrow and just head out to Toronto, which is probably a good thing. Get out there and get acclimated quickly. It's a big point situation there for the Sounders. A little bit of a get right, but I also think you can look at this homestand, 10 out of 15 points, I believe, that you secured at home, much better than how they were playing in stretches last year at home, where it seemed like constantly, the visiting locker room was celebrating, which they were today, Sweet Caroline. So I think Sounders remember that next time. But it's a big chance to go play Toronto, a rival, and not get right, but at least get some important points.
Well, to your point, it is, the good thing about road games sometimes when a good team can regroup and get by the distractions and it'll be interesting because they play Toronto. They play Montreal tonight. They play Toronto. Then you've got about 7 days and you come back to Portland. So which of those are you focusing on?
If you're the Sounders, you better be focusing on Toronto because they're gonna beat you up at BMO. But as a fan, you're looking more for that Portland match because it's a big one. But Portland seems, especially here, they seem to come here and like to knock the Sounders down when it's a big moment. And the Sounders are going to be wearing CONCACAF Champions patches and unveiling a banner, I believe.
Right.
So I think the Timbers going to come here and you're hyped for that. So that means the Sounders better be prepared. But first things first, you can't overlook Toronto. I think this team knows that very well. Also a good chance to get some players healthy. That was brought up as well. A little side note that this is not a full Sounders squad, but still doesn't excuse the performance.
Yeah, look for Raul Ruiz-Diaz to be back, right? And
but,
I think
no Will Bruin, which kind of balances out. If you get Raul back,
Raul, no offense.
No offense to the Bear, but I'd rather have Raul at this moment.
All right, he's Russell Brown. I'm Osvita Mara. This is the CascadiaSports.net post-game on the pitch. Thanks for watching and listening.